Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. We journey back to the United Kingdom in the year 1981, a time of change, resilience, and quiet transformation, to uncover the remarkable story behind the Elizabeth I penny coin that has fascinated collectors and sparked intense searches across the world. Imagine Britain in 1981. The country was standing at a crossroads between tradition and modernity. The echoes of the industrial age still shaped daily life, while new economic challenges tested the strength of the nation. Margaret Thatcher was reshaping Britain's political landscape, industries were adapting to new realities, and ordinary citizens were learning how to navigate an uncertain future. In the midst of all this, the Royal Mint continued its steady work, striking coins that would circulate through markets, buses, schools, and homes, silently documenting history in metal. Among these was the Elizabeth I penny of 1981, a coin that seemed ordinary at the time but would later become one of the most talked about pennies in British numismatic history. The face of the coin carries the calm and dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by Arnold Machin. This portrait had already become iconic by 1981, symbolizing stability in an era of rapid change. The Queen's profile, crowned with a simple tiara, looks confidently to the right, her expression serene yet resolute. Around her portrait runs the familiar Latin inscription, a reminder of centuries-old tradition linking monarchy, nation, and currency. For millions of Britons, this image was simply part of everyday life. But for collectors, even subtle differences in this portrait can tell extraordinary stories. Turn the coin over, and you are greeted by the classic crown percellus design, a symbol deeply rooted in British history. The percellus, once used to protect castles and fortresses, represents strength, defense, and continuity. Above it sits the royal crown, reinforcing the authority of the monarchy. Beneath the design, the date 1981 is clearly stamped, marking the coin's place in time. The simplicity of the design is deceptive, because within this simplicity lie tiny details that can transform a common penny into a priceless treasure. By 1981, the British one-penny coin was made of bronze, an alloy primarily composed of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. The coin measured just over 20 millimeters in diameter and weighed a little more than 3.5 grams. These technical details may sound routine, but for collectors, they are crucial. Even the slightest variation in metal composition, weight, or thickness can indicate a special minting, an error, or an experimental strike. The Royal Mint, like any large institution, occasionally produced coins that did not perfectly match specifications, and it is these rare deviations that ignite excitement among numismatists. The year 1981 itself holds special significance in British coinage. It was a period just before major changes in the composition of UK coins. Rising copper prices were putting pressure on production costs, leading to discussions about alternative materials. This transitional atmosphere created opportunities for unusual minting practices, limited test strikes, and subtle design adjustments. While millions of pennies were produced for circulation, a very small number emerged with characteristics that set them apart from the rest. Collectors who study the 1981 Elizabeth I penny often speak of tiny but critical differences. Some examples show variations in the thickness of the lettering, while others reveal slight shifts in the alignment between the obverse and reverse. There are whispers in the numismatic community about experimental planchets, trial dies, and prototype strikes that were never meant for public circulation. These coins were often handled by mint officials, stored away for reference, or quietly released by accident. Over time, they slipped into the wider world, where only the most observant eyes could recognize their significance. The true allure of the 1981 one penny lies not only in its physical characteristics but also in the stories attached to it. Imagine a worker at the Royal Mint carefully inspecting a batch of coins late one evening. A few pieces stand out, struck with unusual sharpness, or perhaps slightly heavier than standard issues. These coins are set aside, labeled, and forgotten as years pass. Decades later, one of these coins reappears, discovered in an old collection, inherited from a relative, or found tucked away in a dusty drawer. Suddenly, what once seemed insignificant becomes the subject of intense study and speculation. On ultra-rare coins history, we often explore how the emotional connection to coins fuels their value. The 1981 one penny is a perfect example. For many people, it represents childhood memories, pocket money, and simpler times. For collectors, it is a puzzle waiting to be solved. For investors, it is a tangible asset with the potential for extraordinary returns. This convergence of nostalgia, curiosity, and financial promise creates a powerful magnet that draws people into the world of rare coins. As interest grew, auction houses began to pay closer attention to exceptional examples of the 1981 penny. Coins with flawless surfaces, sharp strikes, and unusual features started appearing in private sales. Expert grading services examined these pennies under magnification, analyzing every detail. When a coin achieved an exceptionally high grade, collectors took notice. Condition is everything in numismatics, and a coin that has survived untouched by circulation for over 4 decades is a rare survivor indeed. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1981 one penny story is the role of minting errors. Errors are not mistakes in the traditional sense, they are accidental variations that occur during production. Double strikes, off-center impressions, wrong planchets, and die cracks can all dramatically increase a coin's desirability. In the case of the 1981 penny, rumors persist of a tiny number of coins struck using experimental dies or transitional materials, linking them to a pivotal moment in British minting history. These pieces are the holy grail for serious collectors. The global reach of British coinage also plays a role in the coin's mystique. As the former heart of an empire, British coins traveled far beyond the UK. Pennies found their way into collections across Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas. This worldwide distribution means that a rare 1981 penny could be hiding anywhere, waiting to be rediscovered. Stories circulate online of collectors in distant countries finding British pennies in inherited collections, only to realize years later that they possess something extraordinary. Over time, as fewer pristine examples remain available, demand continues to rise. Wealthy collectors compete fiercely for the finest known specimens, pushing prices ever higher. Museums seek representative pieces for exhibitions on modern British history. Private collectors view the coin as both a historical artifact and a symbol of exclusivity. The 1981 one penny has transcended its original purpose, becoming a cultural and financial icon. What makes this story even more compelling is how quietly it unfolds. Unlike gold sovereigns or elaborate commemorative issues, the one penny coin was never meant to impress. It was designed to be practical, affordable, and ubiquitous. Yet it is precisely this humility that makes its transformation so remarkable. When an everyday object becomes rare, it challenges our assumptions about value and importance. Collectors who specialize in Elizabeth I coinage often describe the thrill of examining pennies from different years, searching for anomalies. The 1981 issue stands out as a favorite topic of discussion at coin fairs and online forums. Debates rage over which features truly define the most valuable examples. Some argue that die varieties are the key, while others emphasize provenance, condition, and documented history. Each perspective adds another layer to the coin's rich narrative. On ultra-rare coins history, we believe that every coin tells a story, but some stories resonate louder than others. The 1981 Elizabeth I one penny speaks of a nation in transition, of craftsmanship behind the scenes, and of the unpredictable journey from pocket change to priceless treasure. It reminds us that history is not only written in books but also stamped into metal, carried quietly through time. As we approach the climax of this story, consider this thought: somewhere, perhaps even in your own collection, there may be a coin you have overlooked. A simple penny dated 1981 bearing the familiar face of Queen Elizabeth II. Most are worth only their face value or perhaps a small premium. But a select few, distinguished by rare characteristics, exceptional condition, and historical significance, have captured the attention of the world's most serious collectors. Top 2. The United Kingdom Elizabeth I one penny dated 2010. At first glance, it may look like just another copper coin you might have once overlooked in your pocket change, but behind this modest appearance lies a story of history, transition, rarity, and collector obsession that has turned this small coin into a legend. The year 2010 was a unique moment in the history of the United Kingdom. The nation was navigating a new decade, global economic uncertainty still lingered after the financial crisis, and Queen Elizabeth I had already reigned for nearly 6 decades. Coins minted during this era represent not only currency but a snapshot of British resilience, tradition, and continuity. The 2010 one penny is part of this story, quietly minted during a time of transformation, yet destined to become one of the most talked about pennies among collectors worldwide. When you hold a 2010 one penny, you are holding more than metal. You are holding a piece of Britain's evolving identity. This coin belongs to the famous copper-plated steel penny series, a significant departure from the earlier bronze composition used before 1992. This change was introduced to reduce production costs, but it also marked a new era in British coinage. The 2010 penny represents the mature phase of this transition, where modern minting techniques met centuries-old tradition. The obverse of the coin features the dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This effigy is widely regarded as one of the most elegant depictions of the Queen, showing her with a regal yet human expression, crowned and confident. By 2010, this portrait had become iconic, symbolizing stability in a rapidly changing world. The fine detailing of the Queen's features, the precise lettering, and the balanced composition reflect the Royal Mint's commitment to excellence even in low-denomination coins. Surrounding the portrait, the inscription ELIZABETHIID G E.G. F. D. 2010 carries deep meaning. It reminds us of the Queen's divine right to rule and her role as defender of the faith. For collectors, this inscription anchors the coin firmly in its historical context, making it a clear marker of its time. Every letter and spacing is studied carefully by numismatists searching for variations that could transform an ordinary penny into a rare treasure. Turning the coin over reveals one of the most important design changes in modern British coin history. The reverse of the 2010 one penny displays a section of the Royal Shield, part of a revolutionary redesign introduced in 2008. Unlike earlier pennies that featured the iconic Percellus design, this modern penny shows a fragment of a larger image that only becomes complete when all denominations are placed together. This bold artistic decision symbolized unity, strength, and the interconnected nature of the United Kingdom. For many collectors, the shield design marks a turning point. It represents the blending of tradition with innovation, making coins like the 2010 penny especially significant. The precise lines, angles, and textures of the shield segment demand perfection during minting. Any deviation, no matter how small, can create a rare error, and it is precisely these imperfections that have propelled certain 2010 pennies into legendary status. Minted primarily at the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, Wales, millions of 2010 pennies were produced. On paper, this would suggest that the coin should be common and unremarkable. But numismatics teaches us a powerful lesson: rarity is not always about low mintage numbers. Sometimes, rarity is born from mistakes, limited test strikes, transitional dies, or coins that were never meant to enter circulation. Over the years, collectors began noticing unusual characteristics in a small number of 2010 one-penny coins. These include subtle die alignment errors, off-metal strikes, incorrect planchet thickness, and exceptionally rare proof-like finishes found on circulation strikes. Some examples show doubled lettering, unusual spacing, or microscopic variations in the shield design that suggest experimental or transitional dies were used during minting. What makes these discoveries so thrilling is that many of these rare pennies were found in everyday circulation. Imagine receiving change at a local shop, unaware that a coin worth millions had just passed through your hands. Stories like these fuel the passion of collectors and keep the legend of the 2010 penny alive. Condition plays a crucial role in the value of any coin, and the 2010 one penny is no exception. While circulated examples are plentiful, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is increasingly difficult. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, especially those with verified mint errors, have become the crown jewels of modern British coin collections. Collectors are particularly drawn to examples that show flawless surfaces, sharp details, and original mint luster. When such condition is combined with a rare error or variation, the value can skyrocket beyond imagination. It is this perfect storm of condition, rarity, and historical significance that has elevated certain 2010 pennies into a class of their own. Beyond technical details, the emotional appeal of the 2010 one penny cannot be ignored. It represents one of the final full decades of Queen Elizabeth I's reign, a period now viewed with nostalgia and reverence. As time passes, coins from this era take on greater symbolic meaning, serving as tangible reminders of a monarch who defined an age. The global collector market has taken notice. Demand for rare modern British coins has surged, driven by online auctions, social media discoveries, and viral stories of valuable finds. The 2010 one penny has become a centerpiece of this movement, frequently appearing in search trends, collector forums, and high-profile discussions about modern rarities. Some collectors believe that the true supply of top-tier 2010 pennies is far smaller than officially documented. Coins may be locked away in private collections, passed down without recognition, or lost altogether. This uncertainty adds another layer of intrigue, pushing collectors to pay extraordinary sums for authenticated examples when they do appear on the market. Auction records and private sales have stunned the numismatic world. While standard examples trade for modest amounts, a handful of verified rare specimens have reached values once reserved for ancient gold coins or medieval rarities. These sales have rewritten the rules of modern coin collecting and proven that even a humble penny can rival the world's most valuable treasures. Top 3. Today's story is about one such coin, a humble piece of copper-plated steel that many people have held without a second thought. United Kingdom Elizabeth I 1 penny 2011. Imagine the year 2011. The world was changing rapidly, technology was advancing, and the United Kingdom stood at a crossroads between tradition and modernity. Queen Elizabeth I had already reigned for nearly 6 decades, becoming a living symbol of continuity in a fast-moving world. Coins bearing her portrait had been part of British life for generations, yet each year of minting subtly reflected the political, economic, and cultural atmosphere of its time. The 2011 one penny coin was born in this unique moment, quietly entering circulation as just another penny destined to be overlooked by almost everyone who touched it. But history has a way of hiding its secrets in plain sight. The one penny coin has always held a special place in British society. For centuries, pennies represented the foundation of everyday commerce. They bought bread, paid small debts, and taught children the value of money. Even as inflation reduced their purchasing power, pennies remained symbols of tradition and continuity. By 2011, the penny was no longer a powerful unit of exchange, but it remained emotionally significant, a link to Britain's deep-rooted monetary heritage. The Elizabeth I 1 penny 2011 continues this tradition with a design that feels familiar yet meaningful. On one side, the obverse features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth I, created by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait is notable for its dignified realism. Unlike earlier, more youthful depictions, this image presents the Queen with maturity, wisdom, and calm authority. Her gaze is steady, her expression composed, reflecting decades of service and responsibility. Around her portrait runs the inscription ELIZABETHIIDGEGFD, a Latin abbreviation meaning Elizabeth I, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. These words connect the coin not just to the Queen herself, but to centuries of British monarchy and constitutional tradition. The reverse of the coin tells another story, one rooted in national identity. The design shows a portion of the royal shield, specifically the segment representing England, with 3 lions passant garden. This design is part of a larger shield series introduced in 2008, where each denomination of British coin displayed a different section of the royal arms. When arranged together, these coins form a complete shield, symbolizing unity across denominations and the idea that even the smallest coin plays a role in the greater whole. The one penny piece carries the lower left section of the shield, a reminder that even modest contributions matter. The material of the 2011 one penny is also a reflection of changing times. Traditionally made of bronze, by 2011 the penny was struck in copper-plated steel. This change was driven by rising metal costs and economic practicality. To the casual observer, the difference was barely noticeable, but to collectors, it marked a clear distinction between eras. The steel core made the coin magnetic, subtly separating it from its older bronze counterparts. This shift in composition tells a story of adaptation, showing how even ancient institutions like the Royal Mint evolve in response to modern challenges. The Royal Mint itself carries centuries of history. Founded over 1,000 years ago, it has produced coins through wars, revolutions, industrial transformations, and social change. Every coin struck within its walls is not just currency, but a historical artifact. In 2011, the Royal Mint operated with advanced technology, precision machinery, and strict quality controls. Millions of pennies were produced, each one seemingly identical to the next. Yet within this vast sea of uniformity, rare anomalies and exceptional specimens quietly emerged. For collectors, this is where the story becomes truly exciting. Coin collecting is not just about age, it is about rarity, condition, errors, and historical significance. While the Elizabeth I 1 penny 2011 is relatively modern, certain examples possess extraordinary qualities that elevate them far above their face value. Some coins were struck under unique conditions, others exhibit rare minting errors, and a very small number survived in near-perfect condition, untouched by circulation, preserving every fine detail as if frozen in time. Minting errors are among the most sought-after features in modern coin collecting. A tiny misalignment, an off-center strike, a double design, or an incorrect planchet can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. In the case of the 2011 1 penny, a handful of extremely rare error coins have been documented. These errors are not flaws in the eyes of collectors, they are fingerprints of the minting process, evidence of human and mechanical imperfection within a highly controlled system. Because such errors are usually detected and destroyed, the few that escape into circulation become exceptionally valuable. Condition plays an equally critical role. Most pennies are scratched, dulled, and worn down through years of use. However, some 2011 pennies were preserved immediately after minting, stored carefully, and protected from air, moisture, and handling. These coins retain their original luster, sharp edges, and crisp details. Under magnification, the lines of the Queen's portrait and the lions on the shield appear razor-sharp, revealing the artistry of the engravers in full clarity. Such pristine examples are incredibly rare, especially more than a decade after their release. Another factor that enhances the allure of the 2011 1 penny is its place in the broader narrative of Queen Elizabeth I's reign. By 2011, the Queen was approaching her Diamond Jubilee, an unprecedented milestone that would be celebrated the following year. Coins from this period are seen by many collectors as part of the build-up to that historic moment. They represent the final chapters of a reign that would eventually become the longest in British history. As time passes, coins from the later years of Elizabeth I's rule gain emotional and historical weight, connecting collectors to a closing era of monarchy. Collector appeal is also driven by global interest. British coins are collected not only in the United Kingdom but around the world. The image of Queen Elizabeth I appeared on the currency of numerous Commonwealth nations, making her the most depicted individual on coins in history. This global recognition fuels demand, especially for rare or exceptional pieces. International collectors often compete fiercely at auctions, driving prices higher and higher for coins that meet the strictest criteria of rarity and condition. The market for rare coins is shaped by psychology as much as economics. Stories matter. A coin is no longer just metal, it becomes a narrative object. The idea that an everyday penny could be worth a fortune captures the imagination of the public. It inspires people to check their change, to look through old collections, and to dream of hidden treasure. This widespread fascination increases attention on specific coins, and the 2011 1 penny has become one of the most talked about examples in recent years.